What's up, Star Wars fans and action figure collectors? Darth Collector here with another Star Wars video. So, in today's video, we have a bit of a special video. I'm showing my face for the first time on YouTube, and I'm also reviewing Star Wars Rise of Skywalker and giving my thoughts on basically how I felt the movie was and how I felt it concluded the Skywalker saga. So, to start off, just wow. Um, just wow. I've seen it twice now, and it was a big movie. Obviously, it's the end of the Skywalker saga, so had a lot to do. So, starting off, I think the critics gave it a review of like a 50-something%, which I think is a little bit harsh for this movie. I think it's definitely not perfect, and it's not like Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi level, but it's definitely more than a 50%. I think some of the pros that this movie did very well, and by the way, this video will have spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, just leave a like and then come back later. Anyways, so with this movie, I think some of the pros that I really liked how they handled Poe's character. I really liked how they handled Kylo's character. Those were two really good things. I think after the 30-minute mark in the movie, probably around, the movie really picked up, like right when they were on the planet with like the crashed Death Star wreckage or whatever. The movie really picked up from there, and I really liked it. With Kylo's character, really liked how like at the end the way he was redeemed and just the way they treated his character, and especially how they made him like more like powerful and stuff this time. I feel like in the last ones he was more just whiny and kind of just an annoying character, you know. He wasn't that good in like The Last Jedi, and he was just okay in The Force Awakens, and I think in this movie they really did him right. I think in regards to Rey, I think it was good that she was less powerful than Kylo. She was still a little overpowered, I think. I think when she like pulled the ship out of the sky that Chewie was on, like that was a little overpowered maybe in some of the healing stuff. But otherwise, I think she was alright. She's just been, they didn't have too much to work with specifically in that movie. So I think for the movie itself, I really liked the entirety of the movie. And I think the only major cons I have, I think the first and the more minor one is in the ship battle at the end, the space battle, when they had like the huge resistance army of ships. I feel like it's a little illogical that they got, I mean, it doesn't have to be logical, but I feel like it's a little not believable that just Lando and Finn managed to get so many ships rallied, even after like The Last Jedi, when Leia, after working for so long, couldn't even get like one to come to their aid, and Lando got like 300. So that was a little unrealistic, and I think it was good otherwise. And I think I heard from some other guys that they just recycled some ships like Han's transport from The Force Awakens, but that wasn't a huge thing to me. But I think the space battle, I think with a little more explanation behind that, it would have been cool. And I just think the whole space battle in general was just more of a background for Palpatine, which is fine. I feel like it could have been executed a little better though. I think in regards to Palpatine coming back and how Palpatine died, I don't know. This movie was kind of cornered with the main villain. I think with the start of the trilogy, I wouldn't have brought back Palpatine, but obviously that JJ didn't have much of an option. So bringing him back, I think it was really cool being brought back. He was cool. The way he died, it was acceptable. I think it could have been definitely better. For me, I think how I would have had I would have had like the Force ghosts of Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Luke, Leia was dead at that point. So Leia, all the Jedi who's like Force ghosts we have, and maybe some others like Kanan or whatever. If he's, I don't know. I would maybe not even, but specifically Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin, and Luke, and Leia should have all like appeared behind Rey and like given her Force energy, and they should, or even just like helped take out Palpatine with like Force energy. And I think Palpatine shouldn't have been taken out by his own Force lightning. That was, and just from like crossing lightsabers, like the one lightsaber, she's like struggling to hold it, then she crosses it, and then Palpatine just dies. Like, crossing the lightsabers wouldn't have helped reflect it any more than one would have. But also, I think just, he's gotten hit with his own like powerful Force lightning before. Like in Revenge of the Sith, for the first time, he got hit and it deformed him and stuff. But then in the second time in Return of the Jedi, he also got hit. But he also survived that, and that was, sorry to turn off, but that was also a very powerful Force lightning, and it did, damage him, but it didn't, like, disintegrate him and blow him into atoms, I think this time, I do I really liked the scene where he was having like a force storm, holding his hands out, and all the lightning took out the whole fleet. Super cool. Really liked that scene. I think that should have gone on a little longer, and I think Palpatine should have just been more powerful. I think Rey should have had a lot harder time trying to take him out, and she shouldn't have been able to do it. And I get that she had all the dead Jedi, or all the, in the Force Jedi helping her and giving her energy, and so she really didn't end Palpatine. I think they were the ones responsible for ending Palpatine. But I think it would have been super cool and super cinematic for all the Force ghosts to come in and like hold out their hands and be like, here's this Palpatine, you're going down. We're all the Jedi, Especially like Anakin mainly, because Anakin was meant to be the chosen one, and he was the chosen one in the prequels. And I guess he did do his job and he brought balance to the Force. But I think ending Palpatine in this one would have been a nice touch if Anakin was the one who did it instead of Rey. Also, I think an interesting thing I was thinking about afterwards is there's not really balance in the Force right now in Star Wars after Rise of Skywalker, because Palpatine's dead, which means there's not really any major Darksider, right? Kylo's dead, Snoke is gone. Presumably. He got killed and, Palpatine's cloning him, but I don't think they're going to take that like that. Knights of Ren are all dead, so there's not really any Darksiders at large right now. And then for Lightsiders, there's just Rey, effectively. There's Rey and the Force Ghost, which, to a point means there's not really balance. If there's just light side and no dark side, there's no balance, right? And the whole goal was balance. So, I don't know. Maybe there's room for a 10, 11, 12. I think they're going to... I could see them making a 10, 11, 12 to the Skywalker saga in some time. It'll probably be at least 10 years. But if it happens, I think that'd be okay. I'd be okay with that. I like how they handled Lando. That was cool. I liked how they did Chewbacca as usual. He was fine. Trying to think if there's any major issues that I noticed. My biggest issues with the movie was not even issue. My biggest thing with the movie was at the end how Rey killed Palpatine. And I think another thing that bothered me a little bit was how Rey, at the very end, when the lady on Tatooine is like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm Rey." And then she's like, "Rey who?" And Rey's like, "Rey Skywalker." I think she should have said she's Rey Palpatine and not said Rey Skywalker, because I feel like, Luke was telling her, "Hey, you gotta face your fears, and you gotta be like, you got." He said something like, "The role of a Jedi is to face your fear, or the path of a Jedi, or something, and like accept your fear, or whatever." And her like fear was sort of being a Palpatine, right? She was afraid of herself, and Luke was saying that. And so at the end, like, conquering her fear would have been, "Hey, I'm Palpatine. I am a Palpatine. Yes, but I'm rising above that family name, and I'm, like, a good Palpatine, Versus, she's like, "I'm a Skywalker. I'm still scared to be a Palpatine. But even though I am, it's like saying Anakin's a Kenobi, because she's just taking her master's name. Or it's saying Luke's a Kenobi. Like, I don't know. It's a minor thing, and I can accept it. But I think that would have been a lot better if she just said that. And I think at the end, another thing with the yellow lightsaber, would have been cool to get some story behind that. I get they had a limited time, so it's like, I think maybe not could have, but would have been cool. Burying Luke and Leia's lightsabers definitely sets up for a 10, 11, and 12, and I think that could really go somewhere, or at least with a spin-off. I think that would be really, really cool. Just trying to think of any last comments I'd like to make. I think overall, for this movie, I would probably give it probably a 7 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. I think it's not up to par with Return of the Jedi, and I think I would have preferred Return of the Jedi as the end of the saga. And I think this movie definitely, like, I feel like the whole sequel trilogy as a whole wasn't really a trilogy, right? It was like Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, but The Last Jedi isn't very relevant after Rise of Skywalker. I personally really didn't like The Last Jedi. I did not like how they handled Luke, and they handled Luke much better in this movie, I have to say. After recovering from The Last Jedi, they did a fantastic job making Luke come back. He's like, holds out his hand, catches lightsaber. He's like, "You don't treat a Jedi's lightsaber with disrespect," because in The Last Jedi, he did, and he's saying, "You don't do what I do. I was wrong last movie," and that character was, and I didn't like how Rian Johnson handled that character. That's just all just my opinion, but that was a big thing for me with The Last Jedi. and I think they did a pretty good job correcting that in this movie, which is good. So characters in this movie were overall plus. Poe was good, Kylo was good, Luke was good, Leia was good. It was cool that they brought back Harrison Ford. They had a nice cameo there. I liked the whole the Star Destroyer thing. So all the Star Destroyers having super lasers on them, sorta. I don't know how I feel. I think that was cool, and that's such a minor thing, but I think it's cool, and it walks a fine line between a remake of like the Death Star Starkiller, but also there's just like a million of them, and it's like it's sort of different. It's just like a Star Destroyer, but like really OP with new technology and such. But it was cool. Anyways, final thoughts. 7.5 out of 10 is what I'm going to give it. 75%. I think it's a very good closing to the sequel trilogy, but I think closing to the to the Skywalker saga as a whole, it's always more going to be Return of the Jedi for me, to be honest. I think cool movie, very cool movie. Really liked it. Great visuals, great everything. Good movie. But I think as a closing to the Rise of I keep saying that, to the Skywalker saga, I don't know, man. I gotta think about it some more. I'm gonna have to watch it a couple more times. After seeing it twice, I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it more. But anyways, I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Please let me know your opinions in the comments down below, and let's keep it like chill, you know, no like hate or anything. Just be respectful of each other's opinions. But anyways, I think I liked it overall. I did like it overall. So that's all I'm gonna say, and thank you. Have a good day. I have spoken.